Всем привет, ребята, с вами я, Sayour. Сегодня делаем реакцию на Майнкрафт от Осиана. Вот. Давайте посмотрим. Здесь, так понимаю, обновленная графика RTX 4090. Вот у нас здесь. Давайте чекнем. Видосик 8 минут. Всем приятного просмотра. Кому понравится реакция, Лукас надо поставить. И, кстати, подписаться на канал, так как сколько там процентов? 60% точно не подписаны, сколько я помню. Вот. Так что надо сделать. Надо сделать подписочку. Все. Погнали смотреть.
I am invulnerable. No video game can defeat me. No. 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 No.
А чё мы?
Maybe a worthy challenge.
Today, I'm finally going to be pushing the RTX 4090
Я забыл сделать субтитры для вас. Напишите в комменты, вам надо субтитры или нет. Вот именно для подобных роликов. А то, ну, я их не читаю, мне это насрать. На самом-то деле. Ну, для вас я поставлю, так и быть, почему нет.
its absolute limit, and I should have got this video out a while ago, but it took me an actual eternity to acquire a 4090, and then I kinda got distracted playing other games on said 4090, but you know, that's in the past, and it is officially time to pit this thing against the ultimate test.
Так,
of
давай к
Minecraft.
сути.
So it'll be pretty interesting to see exactly what it can do against Minecraft, which overall isn't the most optimized game for amazing graphics, but you know, you could always just throw more power at it. And by the way, in the past, I've noticed many people saying things like, well, this isn't actually
Бляха, Майнкрафт захотелось поиграть. Это нормально вообще?
using said graphics card, because Minecraft is mostly bound to CPU performance. And sure, this was technically true like 10 years ago, but as of now, Minecraft uses way more power on the GPU side than it did before, and that's not even mentioning when you have shaders going. When you do, your computer's gonna
Видюха на 91% работает, 40-90, блин. Я не знаю, что тут можно еще
likely be
добавить.
using close to 100% of the graphics card power, so do keep that in mind. And for this video, I'll be recording everything at 4K, which is literally 4 times the resolution of 1080p, and much more demanding. I'm trying to throttle the 4090
И мне графика не нравится, дерьмо.
after all, so I'm throwing everything I possibly can at it. And by the way,
Очень черная она какая-то.
I still paid for this graphics card
Чё
out of pocket,
субтитрами,
which was not
господи.
particularly cheap. I still haven't seen that sweet Nvidia sponsorship. Maybe one day, but I know you guys want to see this happen, and so do I, so here we are. And anyway, I believe I've done
Я очень сильно хочу, чтобы добавили наконец-то новый движок для Java издания, чтобы можно было добавить RTX и что-то подобное. Реально.
enough explaining, and now it's time to see what the 4090 is truly capable of. So, to start things off,
Бля, хочу меня это бесит.
I'm gonna see just how
всё.
unnecessarily high I can get my FPS. And there's little to no benefit of sending your FPS past, like, your monitor's refresh rate, but I don't care. I'm doing this because I can. And this is the one test that is actually potentially gonna use more of the processor than the 4090. So to start things off, I suppose, we're gonna be pushing both the 4090 and the 13700K to the brink. With some fairly default settings and an uncapped frame rate with no mods installed, we're sitting around 750 FPS. But obviously, we're not gonna stop there. There's simply much more FPS to be had. So naturally, we will install Sodium, which is one of the easiest ways to increase your FPS, and with Sodium installed, our FPS has already climbed by a couple hundred, but we can still surely squeeze out quite a bit more than this. So next, I'll be lowering the game's render distance to its lowest setting, and at this point, our FPS is starting to reach some pretty comical levels, but we can go further. I decided to just remove the entire world, and now we're sitting at a pretty respectable 2200 FPS, give or take. But this is where I ran into something kind of interesting. I realized that every single time I pressed F3, my FPS for a split second would be significantly higher, and then just suddenly drop down. So essentially, the F3 menu seemed to be limiting my FPS in some way. So I simply captured the FPS using Shadowplay, which revealed our FPS to be sitting anywhere from 3300 to 3900. But even at this point, I still had the game running at 4K, which means we could easily squeeze out some more performance. So I lowered the resolution to a level you probably would never actually like to play at, and reached an absolutely hilarious 5000 FPS. And interestingly enough, our GPU usage is is still higher than the CPU, so I guess I revoke my previous statement. But now it's time to get to the real testing. My main objective here isn't to destroy Minecraft with the RTX 4090, but rather the other way around. Just to start things off, I'm running complementary shaders as kind of a point of reference. It's one of the most popular shaders available, and I figure many of you would like to know how it runs on the 4090 at 4K, and here it's running at an extremely respectable 200 FPS. With that out of the way though, we're gonna take things up a notch. All of the shaders from here on out are ray traced, which adds some significant processing power requirements, and I'll start things off with the most well-known ray traced shader, which is Sayour PTGI, and right now I'm using the 3.0 version, and if you want a bit better performance, you should go with 2.1, but regardless, I'm using 3.0, and with
Блин, мне реально они не нравятся, эти шейдеры.
vanilla textures, I'm sitting somewhere between 80 to 100 FPS, depending on the biome. And in order to take advantage of these amazing shaders, I'll once again be using the amazing Patrick's resource pack. And Patrick's at this point is still probably my favorite resource pack that just
59 FPS на 40-90.
adds incredible visuals to the game, and not only does it look amazing, but it also comes with a very sturdy performance hit. And you can pretty much already see that in action as we've lost 30 FPS just like that. And this is only the 64 resolution version.
Пожалуйста, ребята, кто делает пиратский ТД, вы можете сделать Майнкрафт на движке Unreal Engine 5, типа? Почему нет? Ну, хотя бы попробовать это сделать. Почему еще никто не попробовал это сделать?
If you try to use the 256 version, chances are your game isn't even going to load. In fact, mine doesn't if I'm using Optifine, although I can just get through using Iris. This does, however, come with another massive performance hit, dropping us from 60 FPS to around maybe 25. I will say though, this is a massive improvement over the result I had a few years ago, back with the 3090. In that video, I only had about 7 FPS with essentially the exact same
Он дошел до 7 FPS, да?
setup. And if you'd like a nice middle ground between the 64 and the 256 resolution version, there is the 128 version, which exists as well, and it literally just sits between the two when it comes to both performance and visuals. Realistically though, if you'd like to play with the Patrick's resource pack, I'd overall just recommend the 64 version, because it still looks incredible regardless. Now, next I'm going to be switching out Sayour PTGI for both Nostalgia VX and Kappa RT. These are once again ray traced shaders, which by the way are created by the same author, and in my opinion, two of the best looking shaders available. I mean, for starters, with either of these shaders enabled, the Nether is downright incredible. I mean, like, other shaders look pretty great in the Nether, but really, I don't think any come particularly close to this. The combination of beautiful fog and incredible glowing objects is just unmatched. But as you would expect, this comes at a pretty significant performance cost. And again, this is only the 64 resolution version of Patrick's. Switching back to 256 drops our FPS pretty significantly, although maybe not quite as bad as it did with Sayour, although we are in the Nether, which isn't quite as intensive as the overworld. And another area these shaders really excel, especially Kappa
Вот эта броня, это дерьмо.
is an ancient city. The low visibility combined with dynamic lighting just makes everything down here downright horrifying and beautiful at the same time. But on the other hand, I think Nostalgia VX once again takes the lead in regular caves. And really, they're both pretty amazing shaders, but you are going to need a fairly capable computer in order to run them. And between the three ray traced shaders I've used in this video, Sayour PTGI still takes the biggest toll on my FPS when combined with Patrick's, and when using the 256 resolution version along with the render distance of 32, I managed to bring the FPS into the single digits. And again, this is kind of the point where Minecraft itself is pretty much the bottleneck, but regardless, it's pretty fun to try and brute force it. And while I'm kind of covering ray traced shaders, I figured I'd also give Bedrock Edition RTX a try. And immediately, I noticed that for some reason my
Блин.
My GPU usage was only at about 45%, which isn't optimal. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to change some settings or something in order to get actual full utilization, but you know, I still managed to get 70 FPS at full settings, so I guess it wasn't the absolute end of the world. Let me tell you though, in my opinion, this shader has the best indoor visuals I've covered in this video. I mean, just playing around with the light sources is incredibly entertaining to me because the shadows behave in such a believable way. The outdoor lighting, on the other hand, isn't anything incredible, but still good enough to impress. Really though, the interiors in Bedrock RTX are absolutely carrying. Overall, it's pretty crazy to see just how much.
Вот сколько багов за этим RTX на самом-то деле. Ну, видно лампа и светится именно внутрь. а начало и кончик не светится. Почему так?
Performance you can squeeze out of your computer just using Minecraft. At its base, most computers can run it, yet just a few shaders and resource packs can make it one of the most demanding games available. And like I mentioned, this is partially just a Minecraft problem, not an RTX 4090 problem, but you know, at the same time, I've still made performance gains, so I suppose theoretically, at some point, even modded Minecraft won't be enough to stop the best graphics cards. We've got a long while before that happens, though. And anyway, that's gonna do it for this video, and let me know what shaders you prefer the most regardless of their FPS hit. And hey, if there's any other shaders or resource packs you think I should include next...
Все. Короче, что можно сказать? В целом. Прикольный ролик. Спасибо за ролик. Ролик мне понравился. Прикольный. Вот здесь, кстати, грибы офигенно выглядят на самом-то деле, реально. Что-то классно, что-то дерьмово. Вот. В целом прикольно. Но то, что мы идем, и в итоге какой-то там ресурс пак и шейдеры берут и уничтожают 4090, блин. Это я не знаю, это капец. Очень хочу, чтобы Майнкрафт, именно Java издание, да, перенесли на новый движок, потому что, ну, я думаю, всем и так понятно, что Java уже давно умерла, и только ман ее держит и не дает лечь в гроб, если говорить по факту. Вот. И долго Майнкрафт обновляться так не будет. Я думаю, вот реально. Вот Java один раз просто возьмет и не выдержит, и все. Так что надо менять движок. Да, это очень больно, очень сложно, но надо, я думаю, точно надо процесс хотя бы начать. Вот. Кто согласен, в комменты напишите мне. Во. Реально, как вам видос, напишите тоже в комменты. Если понравилась реакция Лукас, если не дизлайк, только в комменты напиши почему дизлайк. Во. Реально. И напиши в комменты, еще бы ты хотел видеть, какие бы ты хотел видеть у меня на канале ролики. Вот, что-то если не запинаюсь немного. Всем спасибо, ребят, за просмотр. Всем удачи, всем пока.